Alright, I've been asked on a few of my videos to give my recipe for rye bread, so I thought I'm going to be making bread yet again today. I thought I would go through it. So, first you are going to need 2 cups of bread flour. This is worn off, but this is bread flour, 1 cup of rye bread, 3 tablespoons of instant mashed potato flakes, or the instant potato flakes, 3 teaspoons. Then you need 2 teaspoons of caraway seeds, a teaspoon and a half of Demerara sugar, Demerara. This is what the recipe that I use calls for. I got this at Walmart. Otherwise, you can use just granulated sugar as well. And I will list the link to the recipe I use down below. So a tablespoon and a half of the sugar. Then you will need 2.5 tablespoons of instant yeast. Mine is in this container because I keep it in the freezer. But you'll need 2.5 tablespoons of that. And then a 1.5 teaspoon of salt, which I don't have sitting out here. So those are your dry ingredients. I will put those together in this bowl and then we'll come back together. Okay, so I have all my dry ingredients in my KitchenAid mixing bowl. I have the dough hook attachment. So I will start just kind of low speed, just getting that mixed together. So then for our wet ingredients, you will need 1 cup of water, 1/4 cup of canola oil, which is what I use, and then you'll need 1/4 cup of, the recipe calls for sour pickle juice. I use sauerkraut juice, so that's what's in here is sauerkraut juice. I have those in a measuring cup, and I microwave it for about 1.5 minutes just to get it nice and warm, and then I will be slowly incorporating that into our dry ingredients. Okay, so I have my heated up oil, sauerkraut juice, and water, and then I have my dry ingredients. So I'm going to just lift this up. I'm going to add this to there. And then what you're going to do, oh, it's nice and warm. All you're going to do is you are going to blend until it is like just about mixed together. So I will come back when that is just mixed together. So after about 1 to 2 minutes, your dough should look like this. So then what I'm going to do is one-handedly, this might not work so well. Anyway, I'll give you the gist. I'm going to cover this with plastic, and then I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes and let this rise for the first time for 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, I will come back with you. Alright, so it's been 30 minutes, and this is what the bread looks like. It has risen quite a bit. Not too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to plop this down, turn it on the lowest setting, and you are going to mix that for another 8 minutes. So after 8 minutes, I will come back to you. Jeremy, what are you laughing at me about?
You're listening to Hot Summer Jams of the 2000s on Pandora.
It's good, isn't it?
Early on a Sunday morning, can't beat it.
Yeah, nothing like Eminem at, 10 a.m. on a Sunday.
The best.
Well, anyway, we are at our next step of making bread. And yes, listening to Pandora's Summer Jams of the 2000s is a requirement of making bread. So this is after 8 minutes. As you can see, it is long and stringy. This means that you have developed quite a bit of gluten, which is exactly what you want because gluten is what makes bread. Gluten is what makes bread puff out. So, we'll add the yeast. So that is what you look like. So what I'm going to do, because I can't do this with 2 hands, or with 1 hand, I'm going to pour this out. This is just a little bit of bread flour. I will knead it just a couple times, and then I will put it into this bowl, which I have sprayed with canola oil, and then we are going to cover it and let it sit for about an hour at room temperature. Usually if it's nice and sunny, I'll set it outside, but it's not that nice, so I'll just let it sit on the countertop. I'll let it sit for about an hour-ish.
Breathe, baby, breathe. Slow down. Tell them about your oil mister I got you for your birthday.
On a side note, for all y'all that keep buying Sprite oil, I know I talk fast, Jeremy. Jeremy got me this for my birthday. It's called a Misto. So you just put the oil in it, and then it's a pump action. You just pump it up, and then it has a spray.
$18 from Amazon.
So, I can just keep refilling it.
With any kind of oil.
It's not as fine of a mist as the ones you get at the grocery store, but it works just fine for my purposes. So we're going to let that sit for an hour, and we'll come back and see the awesome bread goodness. So this is what it looks like after about an hour and a half. As you can see, it's doubled in size and fits the bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this out. I'm going to knead it just a couple of times, and then I'm going to put it in the bread loaf. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Okay, so this is what my dough looks like in my well-oiled bread pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it, which you can't see because I'm terrible at filming. We're going to cover it with this tea towel, and we're going to let it sit. It's not very warm in here, so I'll probably let it sit for about an hour and a half to 2 hours and let it puff up. It just depends on the heat. If it's warmer, it obviously rises faster than when it's cold. I usually just keep an eye on it, and I like to see it raised about a ½ inch off the, you'll get a nice little dome. And that seems to be what I prefer. So I will come back at you. So this is what it looks like after 2 hours. I have my oven preheating. You can't even tell. Preheating to 350 degrees. As I said, it's a little cold in here, not ideal proving temperature. So usually it gets a little puffier, but as I said, because it's cold, it's not poofing up as much, and I don't want to just leave it sit out. So I'm going to pop that in there for 35 minutes, and then you will have a wonderful loaf of bread. See you soon. And here is the finished product. Da 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 da. Ooh, I wish you could smell it. It smells delicious. So yeah, that's how I make rye bread. It's my husband and I's favorite kind of bread. It's really the only kind of bread I make. I make about 2 loaves a week, and yeah, we love bread. So there you go. Maybe I'll actually talk about stitching now. Stitch Mania. So today it is May 20th, and it's actually in the afternoon, but I forgot to film this morning. So today was a new start. We were starting Beauty and the Beast Falling in Love. This is by MCG Textiles, and that is what it looks like. And this is what I've got to. So as you can see, I decided to start in the corner, and I'm working on this cloud mess stuff up there. But I can tell I'm starting to get into these greens that's starting to come up. So very exciting, very pretty, and yeah, that is what I've done so far. So we'll see if I have more stitching time this afternoon or what have you. Maybe I'll get a little farther, but I think that's a pretty good start. I'll see you guys soon.
Did you watch all 3?
I don't know if you can hear my husband, but today we spent watching Lord of the Rings, and that is literally what we did.
Smelling dog farts.
Oh my, Jeremy! Anyway, we watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. It was awesome. Anyway, this is where I got to with the Disney Dream Collections Beauty and the Beast. This is all sky. Nice little close up there. I had all this purple in here. I had to frog it because I realized that I had forgotten a row. So it was, and then I was too mad at the purple, so I went to doing pink, and this is sky. It kind of looks like roses, you know, or like flowers. Anyway, I'm exhausted. It is past our bedtime. Way too much Lord of the Rings, but good times. I haven't seen those in a few years, so it was nice to catch up again. So I hope you all are having a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.